Yo guys, today we're going to watch a video by SUPAH, but who's actually the best operator? Let's watch this.
Sponsored by you. Links for the channel are in the description, along with the Discord. Hello there, Arknights' most hated YouTuber here, once again making videos that build off previous videos, which build off previous videos, to the point you need to binge the entire channel to know what's going on. So, I suspect there is a pretty much exact quarter split in the reactions you people had when seeing this video in your recommended feed or notifications, since God knows no one uses the subscription tab. A lot of you actually don't know and are here to have this question answered. Meanwhile, the casual players among you went, well, obviously, the best operator in the game is Wishadel. She has insane damage on an AoE bigger than Caper's thighs and pseudo-permanent untargetability. She also passes as a hit count operator with skill 2. The more experienced among you, still casual but more knowledgeable about the game and its modes, instead went, well, obviously the best operator in the game is Exia Alter. She has damage comparable to Wishadel but on a much better skill cycle. Not just that, her skill 2 ignores attack speed debuffs and gives both her and any operator of your choosing a fat barrier to tank some really stupid shit. Plus, her skill 3 is really versatile, and she can shoot adult videos with Kuro, Vanilla's pet slug, as a side hustle. Finally, those of you who engage with high-end content like High Point CCB, Vector Breakthrough, Max Default AIS, and more, went, well, obviously, the best operator in the game is Tragodia. It comes a point where damage stops mattering in Arknights.
True, like when I use what I call Tragodia in IS6, I don't remember which IS, both IS I guess. Tragodia was doing it's like instant kill the moment that stack hits.
And in that environment, which is the most demanding in the game, Wishadel and Exia Alter just can't help. Tragodia has incredible stall on incredible cycles with good damage, while keeping your team alive or straight up preventing certain enemy gimmicks completely. It's just a shame he's French. There is also the sinister Italy. It's just a shame he's French.
What?
French.
I thought you are French. Wait, what? What?
There is also the sinister fifth option of people.
Yeah, it's not even a competition, bro. Wang is stupidly broken. Like, you don't need any skills at all to use Wang.
Who said Wang after watching a couple YouTube videos. The thing with Wang is that he really is essentially just Wishadel again, down to the SP cost on skill 3. Really, it's just too early to tell. We have to see him in more varied content.
To be honest, no, I think he's better than Wizard because the problem with him is that you can put anywhere that place it, that what you call that ball. you can put that thing anywhere. It doesn't matter where you put Wang. As long as you have that ball can delete enemies. While Wizard, you need to put her somewhere. At least you need to think positionally where you want to put her to maximize her potential so that she can kill everybody inside. But for Wang, he just ignores that. He ignores that limitation. Like, positioning doesn't matter to him.
Content to make a proper judgment. I want to add
and mind you, this is art damage. Oh, like he is doing so much damage with arts damage. It's bullshit.
And using private servers, they've been able to go back and replay every past max risk / max point CC with modern operators. And Wang is used in almost every single one, and brings some of them down to as little.
And brings some of them down to as little as 3 operators.
All as 3 operators. On one hand, this is an extremely impressive feat, And as you can see, Wishadel is nowhere in sight. I
Jeez.
will talk about why that is more later. But then you remember some of these are 6-year-old stages. They were made for a meta where Silverash was our highest damaging operator.
Oh.
So truthfully, I don't know how it speaks for Wang as a best operator contender in present day. Because on one hand, sure, very impressive. But on the other hand, Wang is so far removed from the environment these stages were made for that his skill tree actually just vaporizes the soul of those enemies. Straight up bypasses their physical form to directly expunge their soul from the cycle of
What the dot hole? Damn, that's what is that script? What the heck? That's actually damn. What a line.
samsara. In fact, you can see the immediate jump once we get to a modern CC.
Yeah, it seems that now we see that he needs more characters in the modern CC.
From an average of 4 operators all the way up to 9. So, much like 3 years ago, we have re-entered a state of the meta where the number 1 spot is very contested. For all of Year 6, Wishadel was the undisputed champion, but Year 7 is really shaking things up. First, we need to define a metric by which the best operator is judged. What does it
Imagine he just put Gami there. Like, it doesn't matter. Gami is the best. Imagine that.
actually mean to be the strongest? Is it who deals the most damage? That can't be right. Arknights is too complex for such a simple explanation, and the harder the content becomes, the less reliable damage is. Is it the most useful operator then? But what does useful mean?
Yeah.
With so many niches and gimmicks in the game, rating something by usefulness is just as vague and nebulous. How would you compare something like Haruka healing the equivalent of 3 lost limbs with 2 attacks versus something like Tragodia permanently
Versus something like Tragodia permanently stalling enemies.
So, for my first definition of the best operator, I propose going about it by volume. In other words, the operator that solves the most content in the least effort. This includes all content in the game, every single main story stage, every single event stage, IS, CCB, Annihilation, SSS, Recognition Algorithm, Trials of Navigator, and every other side mode.
How can he speak so fast? Like, he speaks so fast.
If we are to judge the best operator by volume, Wishadel is still by far the strongest. What she does for casual content, no other operator in the game can replicate. Even someone like Exia Alter, who on paper is a better operator, can't quite match Wishadel when it comes to this. She is designed for smooth-brained EN players in a very intentional way. She is entirely seriously akin to an accessibility option. Her most evident upside is the fact she fires actual nukes with a skill tree, but to reduce Wishadel to this would be reductive. The camo is obviously a big part of it, making her untargetable by most sources of damage in the game, pseudo-permanently. However, a lot of people undervalue the massive AoE. It's slightly bigger than the Chapter 10 canon and slightly less wide than your mother. The AoE is what solves a lot of stages, often far more than the camo.
The AoE is
one
so
shot,
big.
she can reach on opposite sides of a given map. She is made for people playing Arknights on the toilet on company time, and that's not even a joke. But it doesn't stop at skill 3. If you decide to activate a whole 3 neurons, you will realize with skill 2 she passes as a dedicated hit count operator, useful in things she passes as a dedicated hit count operator.
What's hit count operator means? I don't understand that.
things like a Pepe event, Ling event, or IS-6. So, if we are looking for the operator that solves the most content with the least effort, it's the Cockroach Demon, and it's not even particularly close. Depending on how the next few months shape up, it might even be Wang.
Oh,
However,
obviously.
you could argue this definition is very flawed. On paper, it seems sensible to define the best operator by volume of content they solve while letting you scroll TikTok. But in practice, these are not very demanding stages at all. So, to say someone is the best because they can easily clear the baby mode drooling toddler content is a little iffy, isn't it? If someone is to be championed as the best operator in the game, they should hold up even in the toughest challenges the game has to offer. And La Cucaracha over here surprisingly doesn't. For all the insane bullshit baked into her kit, her most critical weakness is the lack of innate static ignore in her kit. It means
she doesn't have true damage,
like
right?
Vector Breakthrough or High Points CCB, Wishadel is gonna get stat checked. Her damage is extremely high, but it is not infinite. She can get walled. Or, much more simply, she gets completely shot on by any enemy with damage reduction, like Anastasio. I do want to say Wishadel is a very well-designed operator. The ways in which she is good are very intentional and well thought out. The end result of dishing out damage that goes up to the 32-bit integer is achieved through small effects peppered throughout her kit, which take very good advantage of her class as a flinger. Even if you lowered her numbers, she'd still have an incredibly self-synergistic kit. She also has very clear and obvious weaknesses, which do matter. And apparently that's a hot take among casuals who only ever play casual content and think they know everything about the game. I already mentioned skill 2, but skill 1 can be amazing and surpass skill 3 too.
Really?
In
What?
In certain arcade setups, and in SSS with 5 sniper stacks, she can
5 sniper
basically
stacks.
perma-stun. Wishadel skill 3 has glaring limitations which are intentional. The 50 SP cost and slow skill cycles, the fact it doesn't synergize at all with attack speed buffs, the
Oh,
fact
it doesn't tend to
attack
be as
buffs
big.
are
That's
also
great.
pretty weak on it, the lack of innate stat ignore in her kit, and the fact she deals physical damage. Yes, that was an intentional choice, and yes, that was intended as a weakness due to how damage calculation works in this game. Physical damage is really easy to stat check, unless you are Rei with more attack buffs stacked on top of each other than shitty isekai anime releasing each season. This
What the
is
fuck?
because it's
Okay.
just a subtraction between your damage and the enemy's defense. It's also why Wang, also known as Wishadel with good fashion, is an
What? We said it has good fashion.
Wang, also known as Wishadel.
Like that's actually like her fit is good. What do you mean? Like I know Wang's fit is kind of hard, but it's not like we said it has still has a good fit.
With good fashion is an arts damage operator,
Yeah, arts
and
damage.
effectively just a way more high maintenance, way harder to stat check Wishadel. Arts damage is calculated in percentage. Resistance only
Percentage. Oh, so this is different. Wait, what? So physical damage is damage minus defense, but for us damage is damage reduced in equal to red. Ah.
goes up to 100, and really more like 95, since
Imagine they increase characters with insane resistance. Like they will include enemies with insane resistance. Like and then when Saleh got becomes a really second Wizardel literally.
operators always deal at least 5% damage. So just due
And
to
then
how
we
the
have
game
Chen. Even Chen has the ability to switch her damage type based on the enemy that she fought. Oh man, I like that.
is coded, he is better by virtue of dealing
To be
us
honest,
damage. Really quickly,
then we're going to have we have us damage. You said the what you call the king of us damage. Then we have the queen of physical damage. The only one we don't have is elemental injury. Well, we do have a lot of characters, but imagine we have an insane elemental injury character that is the same level as Suicidal and what I call and Wang. Yeah, I'm going to bet that it's going to have a W in their name. Suicidal, Wang. What next?
if you're enjoying the video, consider liking, subscribing, and hyping, which I still don't know what the fuck that does, but I think I am supposed to tell you to do it to know what the video. Consider liking, subscribing, and hyping.
Hyping? What the hell is that?
Which I still don't know what the fuck that does, but I think I am supposed to tell you to do it to help me out. Don't you want to help out a small Italian fanboy making videos? You
Oh, he's Italian. Okay, never mind. Did I messed up?
do want to. Anyway, the second definition I propose for the best operator in the game is the operator that is the most valuable and solves the most difficult
Ines.
content in the game.
Well,
it stands to reason that if someone
Ines
is
or
the
SUPAH?
strongest, they would be able to surpass these obstacles. And by this definition, Tragodia completely blows both Wishadel
so
and
him,
Theater out of the water. I feel the easiest way to explain how batshit insane Tragodia is to the average player is to think of him and really any other stall effect as damage multipliers. So let's say friend of the channel Ethan procs his bind, and that overall causes the enemy to get to the blue box 50% slower than they would have otherwise. If you add a DPS operator, it means that operator got to deal 50% more damage than they would have otherwise, because the enemy spent 50% more time in their range. Of course, by this logic, it would mean that blocking an enemy is an infinite damage multiplier. And yes, that's correct, actually. It's why a lot of modern bosses are either unblockable or very difficult to block permanently. If you can keep an enemy in
oh
the
fuck, that thing revived! What the fuck? What is that thing? Like, what? Like, it took so long to kill it, and then it revived again?
DPS's range infinitely, that is an infinite damage multiplier. Be it with the skill 2 cat making enemies go back and forth forever, or with skill 3 cages of chaos, there are many situations in which Tragodia is functionally an infinite damage multiplier. And unlike many other
How do you even lower the cooldown?
stallers, he functions as his own DPS. Tragodia's stall is like an onion, it has layers. For one, haha, silly enemy go in circles. For two, haha, silly enemy stuck like a dumbass. And for three, we have to introduce paralysis, the ailment introduced by nervous impairment bursting on an enemy. Unless the enemy has elemental resistance, which, be real, they won't, paralysis
Really, they won't, holy. So not a lot of characters. They just don't make characters that has high elemental resistance, huh?
will block the next three basic attacks, no matter when they happen.
If this was Genshin, they will or HOYO, they will introduce some stupid mechanic that make them resist to elemental injury or some sort of way. Like, it would be some sort of bullshit. Like
Now, do
freeze
you remember when I said
hypergrid.
blocking is functionally an infinite damage multiplier,
Making all the
but it
characters
has
still
become
viable no
increasingly
matter what
difficult
damage
to
that
block
they do.
bosses because Hypergriff noticed that? Now imagine if said boss could not attack and had to sit there like an idiot for the vast majority of the time.
Jeez.
Not just that, but you'd be shocked how many boss gimmicks and special attacks are directly tied to how many basic attacks they go through, gimmicks which Tragodia stops entirely. If the enemy has slow enough movement speed, you can straight up permanently stall them forever with the cat on skill 2. This is not super reliable, but when it works, that's GGWP for the stage.
GGWP.
Otherwise, skill 3 exists.
What is that?
It spawns Cages of Chaos, which block all enemies in the tile and can spawn on undeployable tiles. This is not even mentioning his basic attacks, which themselves apply nervous impairment and make permastalls on a few select enemies possible. In a guess, with enough attack speed or SP buff, he just permastalls every—
What is happening here? Holy! I feel bad for the enemy. Imagine you play as the enemy. You will feel so pissed.
the enemy in his range, because he refreshes paralysis before the enemies can attack through it, meaning they can never break the Cages of Chaos, or never hit your blocker. However, most of the time, his skill cycles won't allow for permanent stalls, but still extremely powerful ones. In that case, you simply need to add another powerful staller to the team, like Crown Slayer or the far less cool Ethan, so they cover for each other's cooldowns. Finally, Tragodia is amazing in casual play as well. The cat on skill 2 is functionally an AoE arts/true damage bomb. As I said, he is often his own DPS. This fixes the main issue with stallers in casual content. That being, why would you stall when you can just murder the enemy instead? In casual play, there is little reason to ever use stallers because you could just use Lemwen to strike them down from orbit instead.
What the fuck did Lemon do? What? I didn't know Lemon was that broken.
Tragodia fixes this by, indeed, murdering the enemies. You could argue the most valuable thing you can ask for in Arknights beyond even damage is control over the stage, and Tragodia is the definitive embodiment of it. However, you could also argue that this definition of the best operator is flawed too. Sure, on paper it stands to reason that the operator which is the strongest in the most difficult content would be the best operator, as that is the most demanding content and thus draws out the best performing units. However, show of hands, how many of you actually do max difficulty IS and max points CCB? If I see more than 2 hands, some of you are lying to me. While Tragodia is very much stupidly strong in casual play too, this definition of the best operator fails in practice simply because almost nobody actually engages with the content in which Tragodia is the best operator. For the casual player, for the average viewer, for the Twitter chad, this integrated strategies, Fiurgi Cup mambo jumbo simply does not matter and will never matter to their experience. Wishadel and Exialter will do for you much more than Tragodia ever will when it comes to event stages and such. So perhaps we need a happy middle. The best operator is someone who could excel in all content. Content that isn't entirely undemanding baby mode main story stages, but also not cock and ball torture IS. Something that the average person would engage with, like 620 point CCB and difficulty 10 IS. Under this definition, it's a pretty easy Exialter win.
Oh, really?
Skill 2's damage is on par with Shadow. She gets a barrier to tank pretty much anything thrown at her, gets to ignore attack speed debuffs, and has very powerful niches on skill 3, all on better skill cycles. All in all, Exialter performs better than Wishadel. Usually, having Exialter to DPS will be far more effective and efficient than the Cockroach. In high-end content, her damage starts lacking, but she has skill 3 to compensate. She has utility. She can spawn in more useful operators and manipulate their positions and cycles. This is future-proofing. Someday, a ground operator that beats out her skill 2 will exist, and Exialter will remain relevant through skill 3. So, for the content that most people actually engage with, Exialter is the operator that simply performs the best. Not only being good on her own, but potentially helping out the rest of the team with barrier and revival. You can respawn operators who died, you can reposition operators across the map instantly, operators who retreat themselves no longer have that weakness, and you get to use skills twice in a row. But once again, you could argue this definition is flawed.
Bro.
While she is the best performing operator in content players actually engage with, she's not the one that clears it with the least effort, meaning she's not the one people will gravitate towards. And she's also not the one that is invaluable when the content gets harder. This means that Exialter is in the position where she's not gonna get drafted over Wishadel for casual content by casual players playing on the toilet, and not over Tragodia either for the Sweatlord content. Exialter truly shines in a very specific subset of content where Wishadel gets stat checked, but it's not so hard that Tragodia takes over by virtue that damage stops mattering. But you could also argue it doesn't fucking matter what players pick. Even if casuals gravitate towards Wishadel more, Exialter is still better, and that is immutable. Just because Myrtle is the most used operator in the game, that does not mean she wasn't power crept at least 7 times by now.
That's a lot.
You could argue for all 3 of them that they are the best operator in the game, and all arguments are valid through some lens. Once again, I have tricked you into watching a video that argues Arknights is a sandbox game. It is because the experience of Arknights is so individually different depending on what you value as a player and what you play that this happens. If you're a casual, the best operator in the game is Wishadel. If you want the operator that actually performs the best operator in the game is Exialter. And if you're someone that does challenges or high-end content, or generally a far more experienced player, Tragodia is the best operator in the game. Well, fucking whatever. We all know for the fucking 7th anniversary we're gonna get limited Tallulah and she's gonna be the undisputed best, thusly invalidating this entire video. She's
I cannot wait! Allah become playable! Holy!
Gonna take the fucking Chen 3 Dragon HP percent damage and just make it max HP percent damage instead to just break the game forever. Max out your Gummy, bye.
You should have said that. Say Gummy is the best character ever. Like, I will actually accept that. But yeah, that's the video. Oh my, oh my god. I was so tired watching that. Bro keeps like contradicting himself over and over again. But yeah, it seems that for him, the 3 best characters are Wishadel, as you say, Alter, and Tragodia. Interesting. I think in the tier list it's the same as well. Let me check that. Actually, I think that in the tier list, Arknight tier list, this one, the official Arknight, I don't know if it's official or not. Oh, not really, actually. Tragodia is there. Yeah, Tragodia is still there. But both of them are still there. But Tragodia, like, yeah, Tragodia is still there in below. But both of them are just that OP, yeah. Well, for Tragodi, the only reason is because he is very utility based compared to these other characters. This character has more damage, like Milner, and Logos has more damage too. Lazy Alta, I don't know about anything about Lazy Alta and Sakiko, to be honest. And Ines has just DP. DP being very important. But yeah, interesting video. I feel like there's way more interesting video from Luke. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. Like I feel like there's way better super video that I can react to instead of this one. But yeah, but this is one of the ones I got from the Discord. So yeah, I'm still going to react to it because I promise you guys to react to the content that you guys have. So if you guys want to me to react to any content from Arknights or even not Arknights. I don't really mind. Oh well, nah. Um, well, it doesn't matter. Like you can suggest any content for me to react. Either it's Arknights or any other gacha game, and yeah, you can suggest it on the Discord. Like join the Discord, and I will send there's a link in the description below, and yeah, and you can give me the link there. There's a segment there where for reaction requests. So yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching, guys. Enjoy. Please subscribe and please share the video to see more content. And yeah, peace out.